Hello, folks. It is Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern. It is time for your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. And this week, we have some shows to cover. We had Forbidden Door last weekend. We had NXT Heatwave. We got a Clash in Paris coming up this weekend. We will get into all that, plus a story that has been blowing up all over the place online and is developing as we speak. Everything that's going on with Rajah Jackson. And I'm not even sure where we're going to go with that because that is just a story unlike anything else out there. So we're going to try to cover that. And who knows what else, folks. Get ready. Your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast starts right now.
Big Gold Belt, 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 Big Gold Belt. All I really want is that Big Gold Belt, Big Gold Belt, Big Gold Belt. Big old belt, big old belt. All I really need, that big old belt.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast, Season 5, Episode 30 tonight. I am Will in the center of your screen. To my right is the Giant Crab Jamal, rejoining us this week after his international travels. And to my left, the editor-in-chief is here this week. We got a rare occasion. This was twice in the last month, though, so I probably shouldn't say that. But the boss man himself, 2 Chains, is here this week. Glad to see both of you.
What's up, everybody? Hey, Jamal.
Everyone doing good?
Yeah, pretty good. You know,
not
an international trip this time, but just in Minnesota. So that's just pretty.
Oh, okay. I was mistaken. Yeah. I'm so used to you going somewhere overseas and coming back with the latest jersey or the latest hat from an obscure team of some sort.
Yeah, like this one.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I was expecting there was some sort of travel of that sort.
But we need to take a guess. What team do we? So it's obviously from Minnesota, and that looks like a duck. That looks red. So I'm going to say it's the Minnesota Red Cracks.
I don't know what kind of hood ass AAU basketball team that you got, but no, it is not the Minnesota Red Quack. But it's actually a local team. So if you know what team this is, let us know in the comments.
There you go. A game for tonight, for the next hour. If anyone can come up with that and identify that Pokemon is wearing tonight. There you go. So let's rewind to last weekend because we had double shows last weekend. We had AEW and NXT having shows on the same day. So the big one was obviously AEW was the bigger show of the two by quite the large margins. They were during the afternoon from London with AEW Forbidden Door. Went down last Sunday. And the biggest story I'd say coming out of this show seems to be that there is a bit of a opening on the card now, as in the main event, they had the lights out steel cage match, covered the whole ringside area as like the grand finale of the show.
Not a fan of that gimmick. I'm just not.
The cage or like the whole thing. I don't know.
Jamal know, and I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast, but I'm just not a Justin Roberts fan. So announcing what the match was and trying to add sort of the theatrics to it. It's like, and the lights goes off.
Right.
And the lights are back on. I was just like, I thought it was a lights out back. I honestly was really looking forward to this being just completely pitch black, just FYI. But it just didn't work for me. It's brought so many ways there. You're on mute, sir, if you're talking to me.
The match isn't sponsored by Slim Jim, so we can't have a lights out match.
But continue. I just wasn't a fan. Nothing.
Yeah. So in that one, we had Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Darby Allin, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Will Ospreay as a team, getting the win over the Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley, the Young Bucks, and Gabe Kidd as their adversaries. But the big story was after the match, as the Death Riders and like all the heels just basically jumped Ospreay, crushed his neck. Rumors were already going around that, he has his back's in bad shape. So wrote him out clearly with the idea that he's not going to be around for quite a while. They opened Dynamite last night, hyping that up as like, we won't be seeing Will Ospreay for some time. And then elsewhere on the card, we had Kazuchika Okada getting a win over Swerve Strickland, and Swerve Strickland also has an injury and went in for surgery this week. So between Swerve and Ospreay, we have two major names that have been getting a lot of TV time in AEW now that are out of the mix for the foreseeable future. So that's honestly, I think, the biggest story of this show from where I'm sitting is that now there is quite a big opening here as we head into fall, and I'm not quite sure what they might do with that. So I don't Crab, hearing those two names are out and looking, looking at kind of what they've been doing in AEW, I don't know. Where do you think we go with this?
Well, the next man up. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. What are Lashley and Shelton doing? Where's Samoa Joe? Is Darby finally going to be inserted into the main event picture? Are they just going to give the belt back to Moxley? You have Cope and Christian. Will any of them go on a singles run? For the last time. So it's not. They've never been like short of talent. It's just they've been short at space at the top. And one thing the AEW's, and then of course I haven't even mentioned Max Friedman. Who's definitely right there in that conversation. So AEW definitely has, like, just because the space opened up at the top, that space should immediately be filled in by everybody that I just named and maybe people that I haven't named. Because I'm still waiting for Will Hobbs to step into that role. I'm still waiting for, they may even surprise us and throw like, maybe Bowens is a guy that's, been bubbling and then he'll get, finally step into the main event picture. Where's Keith Lee? Is he still with the company? Is he able to come back? Is he just waiting on talent? Where's Jungle Boy? Is he another guy that's just at home waiting for the right pitch, the right opportunity to come back? So, and we can do this all day long, but without Swerve and Billiam, the question is, like, how does that affect their story going forward when they're trying to do this, heel versus AEW thing again? But realistically, though they are two big tent poles that are holding up AEW right now, somebody else would just have to fill in and do it. So next man up.
Yeah, there's definitely no shortage of options. And actually, the first two names you mentioned jumped out at me as another big part of this show and some of the big discourse I was seeing the day after. Let's talk about the now former World Tag Team Champions, Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. Let's talk about the Hurt Syndicate, because in their match, they lost the World Tag Team titles to Brody King and Bandito, who are the new World Tag Team Champions. But they did not lose the match. It was a three-way with FTR, and there was a lot of talk about how Brody King and Bandito beat FTR as opposed to Lashley and Benjamin. And a lot of people not happy about that they didn't do the honors in the titles being exchanged. So, I don't know, 2 Chains, do you think this is an issue? Because a lot of people were taking issue with it this week and just thinking that's some WWE nonsense or something. What's that they're not willing to change the titles and lose the match? Why are they not willing to take the fall? People got hot about it this week.
Yeah, I it's something. First of all, I need to figure out a way to clear out particular accounts from like coming across my Twitter. Because
when you figure it out, you let me know too. Because
I got you. Because I see discourse and I just be like, "What?" And that's probably the least of things I would complain about. Mercedes Moné having 9 belts or something. I got some time for. But that's for another show. No, I don't see an issue with this. There's obviously more storyline to be made with that. And for the reasons people are complaining is one of those reasons you say, well, just wait it out. You would imagine that the story comes to a head at a different point. But I want to go back to the Swerve and Will Ospreay absence. Yeah. I fully agree with Jamal. The only issue I see with this is that these two talents have transcended outside of their popularity in AEW and have made partnerships, branding, and so on outside of the brand. Now, granted, they may still be able to do that which that is what I'm more interested to see, if they're still going to be like the faces of AEW outside of in the ring, or does this allow somebody else to come in? And Brody King got a shoe deal coming in, so like, does somebody like a Brody King start to get featured even more? Do they take a look at somebody else who kind of checks off a particular box for a particular brand and start to elevate them as well too? So especially from my conversation with Swerve at Comic-Con, I'm definitely more or less interested to see how they get somebody else over in terms of that measure of stardom, because with Swerve, as humble as he is, I know his grind and I know everything he's been trying to accomplish outside, and of course AEW helping him along with that. But what about the person that just wants to wrestle but also may want to be the face of the company, which just isn't good enough nowadays in any professional sport, because the brands, the sponsorships, the marketing, all that stuff comes with it, that celebrity, but somebody has to be ready to do so. On the women's side, no problem. You look at Mercedes Moné, Toni Storm. I would even say Athena is even ready. But from the guys who aren't ex WWE, who knows that entertainment side and they just are pure AEW, it'd be interesting to see who that person will be. And I know you mentioned Darby, and Darby has been doing some stuff. He's actually done some stuff with he was actually featured in Shark Week this year. We know all the other little thrills that he's been a part of, but like, these are things that like he personally wants to do, you know, even with Vans and I forget the yearly festival that Vans do, but like him being a part of stuff like that, like these are things, you know,
the Warped Tour.
Yeah, the Warped Tour. Thank you. These are things you can see him being affiliated with, but like a Darby Allin walking the red carpet, a Darby Allin doing, you know, a crossover with Peacemaker or something like that. You know, who will be that person that's going to step up to fill in that slot while these two are gone for the while? Because that's the void that I really think is going to be missing, that they need to really come to the board and figure out who that potential person is going to be.
Considering Darby was gone so long climbing Mount Everest, you would kind of think the timing's right to do something there, since they didn't bring him back and immediately, you know, put him in the picture to be the guy to beat Moxley. They had Hangman be the man to do that. So I would lean towards Darby, but at the same time, it always seems like he's got something else going on. He's always on the verge of leaving to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And the other thing is, MJF has obviously been doing a lot, but MJF's his moves feels like his own personal ambitions again, like him being in the Adam Sandler movie. I want to say Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. Thank you. Billy Madison's my other favorite. But him being a part of that, obviously him being in the Iron Claw, you know, these are things that did not personally have an AEW connection. Obviously, they probably had to sign off on it or something, maybe. But like, it wasn't like there was a major conjunction in cross promoting it, especially with the Adam Sandler movie being a Netflix project, and we know how close in bed Netflix and WWE is. But if you could say somebody who's prime and ready to be that person, I mean, he's right there. It's just a measure of like, does the character in the ring align with what he does outside the ring? Because when he's heel, he's 1,000% babyface in any other promotional aspect outside of it. So just making sure that all aligns as well. So I'm more excited to see what happens there. Truly.
All right. So I've hit anything I wanted to hit on Forbidden Door. Is there anything else y'all want to touch on looking at the card here? We still got Toni Storm with the title. We still got Mercedes dominating with 9 belts at this point from all over the world. So we got that going on with the women.
Yeah. No, I didn't watch the whole show, so I can't speak too much on everything. But I will say this quickly for the main event. It's been a long time since I've been a fan of the Young Bucks. I'm actually really digging everything that's happening with them in terms of them being sort of punked in the beginning with their old music, the gummy bear spot. There's a lot of good things that's happening with them, and it's good for them because they're vets. And not only are they just vets in terms of pro wrestling, but like, let's not forget all the things that they've done over the years in terms of being the merch kings, helping start AEW. it's good to see them get to a point now where it's like they're just clearly having fun. Like they're cashing checks, they're having fun, they're not having to be fully responsible for their grind and their ambition hitting the roads.
Right.
I mean, they're completely done with the indies as it seems. And they're just, continue to stay relevant, and they're wrestling a good, I would say, toned down version of what we know them to do, the PWG days, where they're hitting the spots, but like we can see that they got a little bit more left in the tape before they all hang it up. And it's good to see them still active, still relevant, and just having fun. So that was definitely one thing I just kind of sat back and was like, yeah, man, it's crazy to see them even over the years still getting the love, still getting the reaction from folks, regardless of what side they on. You would think at some point it would have fizzled down and they would have become an afterthought, especially with the immense amount of talent that has come in and out of AEW, and they've been there since day one. But now, I'm still enjoying them.
Yeah, I would argue that the Bucks were an afterthought for a while, and then they went through this program that they're in now. The one thing that I will say about it, and I do like it, the nostalgia and everything like that, but it kind of feels like a retirement run. Like it really feels like that they are actually, this is their maybe not immediate retirement in the sense that they're going to leave their boots in the ring after the last big paper Wrestle Dream or something like that. But it does feel like they are playing the hits of their career and going through that, hey, this is your life type of ceremony without bringing out their old music and the whole stripping them of the EVP thing and building them back up from nothing and that whole thing. So I'm not saying that it is now, but it would be interesting that if this arc ends, let's say May next year, which would be, of course, when it all started, it would be interesting to see where they are, because we know that they're not there for a long time. They know that they're not there for a long time, but they uploaded a YouTube video again. It's definitely not being the elite, but the channel's active again. So it does seem like that they're playing the old hits in more ways than one. And I wonder, at this age, is this kind of the start of the the final lap for the Bucks?
I could see that. I could totally see like that. Like I said, they're not there yet. We're not on the farewell tour just yet, but it feels like that, like it's winding down. It's starting to get to that point where maybe by the end of the year we start hearing, yeah, you know what, 2026, that's going to be it. I don't know. I could see it. They got families, they got kids. Lord knows they got a ton of damn money. Lord knows they will be taken care of in AEW, and just from the style they've worked at, it's got to, it all catches up with you eventually. So I don't know. If nothing else, it feels like it's starting to wind down. So I don't know. All right. Forbidden Door. There you go. That was our show from AEW last weekend in London. Let's switch gears to later that night in Lowell, Massachusetts. That's where NXT Heatwave originated from. And for this one, let's go right to the main event, because we were talking about the main event last week and what we thought should happen and how we were like, okay, Javon Evans has been like right on that cusp for so long and feels like, the fresh young face that like has been ready to break through. And we talked about it last week, and he's facing Obafemi, who's just been pure domination. And I was feeling like, Oba ain't going to be hurt by a loss at this point. Oba's been dominant as can be. I don't see how you could shine Oba up anymore. And lo and behold, Oba ain't taking his hands off that belt just yet. He's going to pitch Javon Evans through, a table from the ring. And it was like, oh, damn. They are not done. Once again, we let Javon get so close to almost getting the win. But still, no. It's still Obafemi domination. And it's kind of getting to the point with me where it's like, damn, if it's not going to be Javon, I feel like we're running out of people. It might be time that Oba's got to move up and do the deal where they gotta, he moves up and like vacates the title as just, I'm unbeatable. Now I'm moving on or something like that. I don't know. James, what are you thinking?
I mean, I agree. First of all, we love the underdog story. Javon is young, and that sometimes happens to play towards one's potential booking because you're like, oh, he got so many more years. You know, he'll get his time. But I do think as much as it is about Javon getting the title, which we all want, we're all going to continue to cheer for that. It's also about, well, then what happens to Oba once he is out of the title picture? Or does he does he go back to, does he pursue again? And how many times can he lose without you be like, all right, hold on, this dude's so dominant, he's not losing again. I think it really is about the timing. And when I mean the timing, I don't mean like, when the stars align. I do literally mean like the timing. It needs to be in a sense where Javon wins, and it's clear he's the champion. He becomes the face of NXT, and then Oba has something to do. And the only way to properly integrate such a dominant force into the main roster is no other than the Royal Rumble, which means to me, it has to be somewhere later on in this year. And I think the last show we have at this year is, as of right now, has got to be Halloween Havoc. So we're still in about October. So we're looking at a pay-per-view around like maybe day one. Maybe they
December-ish. Yeah, there's got to be
January-ish. Give him a little break, have him pop up in the Rumble, do his thing. Get him to the Rumble, have him work some house shows, get him ready, and then by the time then you see what happens. Do you bring him up after Mania? Do you give him a spot at Mania? I guess it's just a matter of saying how polished is he for the main roster. So Royal Rumble, let him look good, let him look clean, let him look dominant, and then let him do some house show stuff. Javon continues to be the human highlight in NXT. And there's some big matches we want with Javon, especially with that TNA roster as well, too, might I add. So there's a lot they're going to do with Javon. He'll be okay. But it's really, I think it's about the timing for Oba to make sure that Oba is properly placed in terms of him being promoted to the main roster and they have something for him to do.
Crab, is Royal Rumble the time for Oba, or should it be something different?
I think Royal Rumble is the perfect time for that. It's far enough away where the Royal Rumble in general is a time where anything can happen. They will tell you that anything can happen so many times between end of November and early January. So yeah, sure, absolutely, why not? And then you have your shakeup of the roster, like, well, where is he going to land? And stuff like that. Yeah. That can happen after the Royal Rumble and then leading into WrestleMania season. So realistically, it ain't Survivor Series, and a Saudi show doesn't make sense. So so the Rumble, let it happen. And we've seen it happen before, where it's like, oh, Keith Lee is in the same space as Brock Lesnar. Oh shit! So there's absolutely those moments where we can have Obafemi and Roman Reigns in the same space. Yeah. You have Obafemi and pick whoever in the same space. That image is how it gets started.
Yeah, Jacob Fatu and Obafemi in the same space is cashing checks right there.
That's a WrestleMania match. That's a good call right out the gate. Too.
Now also just the only little caveat to all this is like looks like they're looking towards Ricky Sanks. And obviously you do
the next challenger. Yeah.
Right. And which is fine because this stalls everything because you bring him in, Javon's still there, you get a 3-way with that, you run 2 to 3 more pay-per-views, shuffling that around a little bit, then you're at the Royal Rumble and you crown the champion one way or another. And I think a 3-way is a perfect way to do it because it immediately removes one and then it leaves 2. And then that's your program going forward. And Ricky and Javon, who's not signing up for that as well, too? So, and then somebody's probably going to be ready to be elevated into NXT. So, there's just a lot they could do. Again, dealing with folks with TNA as well. that can instantly be brought into this picture, they'll be fine. It's really was about Oba, not so much about Javon. It's like, what do you do with Oba? Because everybody know he's prime for the main roster. It's just a matter of how they do it. And putting him right now just doesn't make sense. There's nowhere for him to go right now that makes it relevant and important. Royal Rumble was a good place to start. Get him over with the folks that only watch the main roster. As you mentioned, you put them across from a Brock, a Jacob, a Roman. You have them do about 10 eliminations. You have commentary do what they do best, and then he'll be good to go, depending on how they want to implement him on the road to WrestleMania. Now, Will, let me ask you, because Jamal mentioned this, and this wasn't on our topic thing. So again, because take it with a grain of salt with the different things you see flying across the Twitter.
Right.
There has been some discussions that they say, discussions that they're going to do a draft and they're going to make it official and have it be handled by ESPN on ESPN.
Oh, jeez.
Now, I've been like really wanting a legitimate draft. And this is definitely one where I feel like I'm about to put my foot in my own mouth, because now I'm also very hesitant that if this really do happen, like, oh my God, I just wanted a special. I didn't want it to be integrated into a show.
Right.
Somebody get drafted and the next they know they're wrestling. Like, I just wanted to be in 1 to 2 hour special, and it's just handled legitimately like how ESPN does it. Maybe have ESPN feature it, but definitely don't make it like ESPN is going to try to handle wrestling and do the draft. I don't want all that. That's going to
the key would have to be you do the draft, but you use ESPN to rebrand it and to give it a whole new shine to it and spin it up that way with the ESPN talking heads. I hadn't even thought of that, and I'm kind of kicking myself that I hadn't, because it's so damn obvious. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about Clash in Paris. And the number one thing with Clash in Paris this weekend being the final show on Peacock, it's kind of a lame duck pay-per-view because all eyes are focused on September and this ESPN debut. Yeah. And Lord knows all the stops are coming out in September. We'll talk about that in the second half. But God, a draft with ESPN branding, I can see it. I can totally see it. That screams like they get through that first show and they do that in October.
And something. they put it on the new ESPN app. It's going to draw viewership, subscribers. It just seems like the right thing to do. But before we go to break, just in case we're about to end it, we have to make sure that we give Ash by Elegance her love, her flowers for officially becoming, for the first time ever, a world champ. I feel like we can very much across the board say we've always championed folks who had left WWE, whether by way of the black bag or just future endeavors or whatever it may have been. But it's always a great story when people go out there, they figure it out, and one way, shape, or form, they get sort of the reward that they've worked so hard in trying to obtain, whether it is returning back to WWE and being featured properly, the Drew McIntyres, the modern day Maharaja, all these folks that's done. Cody, we have to put her name in that discussion because when she was in WWE, a lot of things just wasn't working. We tried so hard for Dana Brooke. She had her highs. She had a lot of lows. To see her as world champion, to see the Elegance brand really working in TNA, becoming the face of the women's division in TNA, a great match, might I add, with JC Jane and Masha, who honestly, I'm such a fan of Masha. I don't think anybody could beat her, and she takes great losses, by the way, all across the board. But she damn sure always has a hell of a match. It has to be noted that she's put in the work, and I know Jamal hates the whole idea of saying she deserved it, but damn, she worked her ass off, and in the measure of that, she damn sure did earn this for 100%, and it felt like she deserved it on how it was done. So, time to make sure she get her flowers and understand she's a world champion, folks.
Yeah, a long road to get there. Cribe, you want to throw in anything on that?
It is well deserved, even though I won't say that person X deserves to win this thing. However, absolutely 100% deserved. She's been doing well in TNA, and of course thinking of the people that left around the same time, male or female, and haven't seen much, haven't heard much. For her to keep doing it, reinventing herself, and keep going is actually something that should be commended.
Yeah. There we go. All right, let's now go to our mid-show break, and then when we come back, we'll hit Clash in Paris. We'll talk about that since that's our show going on this weekend, and then we'll talk about this Raja Jackson drama, because Lord knows that is a whole nother ball of wax. So we'll get into that. This second half is going to be interesting, folks. So stay with us, your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. We'll be back right after this.
Looking to get your brand in front of people who eat, sleep, and breathe entertainment? Big Gold Belt Media is the place to be. We're all about reporting on movies, TV shows, conventions, and everything in between. And we want your brand to be a part of the action. Partnering with us means your sponsorships get featured right in the midst of our content. Plus, we're going to hype you up on all of our social media, connecting you with an audience that loves discovering new things from trusted voices in entertainment. We're easy to find. Just look for us on Big Gold Belt on all your social media platforms. Don't wait, reach out today, and let's start building something amazing together. Your spotlight is waiting here at Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbelt.com.
Thank you for being with us here tonight, folks, on your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. Great to see so many people up in the counter there. So glad to have folks hanging out with us tonight. We talked about Forbidden Door and NXT Heatwave in the first half. We're now going to switch gears and look ahead to this weekend, since we have WWE Clash in Paris happening this Sunday. Let's see, where is this? We know how it's going down in Paris. Is it Nanterre? How is it, Nanterre? I'm not good with French.
It's in Detroit. Yeah, it's in Detroit. Yeah, that's right. Joe Louis Arena.
The Paris La Defense Arena.
Yeah. La Defense Arena is in Nanterre. Just outside of Paris. Avoid the one train if you don't want your shit stolen. Allegedly.
There you go. But that is going down this Sunday. So let's take a quick look at this card for what we got going down for Clash in Paris. So we have a singles match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella. We have Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed. It's not officially for it, but I'm assuming this is for the Shula Fala around Bronson Reed's neck, since he's been collecting Roman shoes for the past couple weeks. We have a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match between Sheamus and Rusev. We have a fatal four-way for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight all going at it in that one. And last but not least, this is a kind of interesting one. A straight singles match. It is not for the title. It says John Cena versus Logan Paul, which looks like it's going to be the main event. I guess either that or the four-way will be the main event. But 5 matches at this point. I've heard some rumors Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton might be added on SmackDown. But as it stands right now, 5 matches, possibly 6. But I'll go to you first, to James. What's jumping out at you? What looks like the most interesting?
The Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella one, because I think it seems to be a given that Becky retains. But
you think?
Yeah. I'm feeling a little optimistic on a title change here. Why? I don't know. But there's been wilder things that have happened. And this is the one that I'm like kind of rooting for low-key for something wild to happen, because Nikki Bella being the IC champion, I mean, there's so much respect for everything that she's done, and she's back. We're not really sure in what capacity that she's back, but to have her around and to kind of give her a little bit of run, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. I think that Nikki Bella and John Cena on the same car is also a little moment as well too. So everybody's playing nicely. But yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised if she pulled out a win. But beyond the outcome of the match, why I am interested is because Becky Lynch has worked very well with legends. I want to say trilogy of matches she had with Trish Stratus stole the show on most of those cards. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if this is just another case of that. Last thing I'll say to wrap up is that I always say when you talk about the 4 horsewomen, the reason why I think a lot of us put them on a Mount Rushmore of their own is because everything they've been able to accomplish. When we look at the accolades, I've been very vocal over the years and say the reason why they're so good is because they've always been really good dance partners with one another. You know, you're getting a classic, but you put them with anybody else, you're probably going to have a good match. And since like every other year, everybody's like, oh, who's the best? Oh, well, Becky's the workhorse, Charlotte's the workhorse, Sasha, Mercedes the workhorse, Bailey's the definitive best one. Now, you hear all these sorts of different things, but truly, I think when it comes down to it, you put any of the 4 ladies, especially when it's somebody that either they have looked up to, or veterans, or just anybody who's just waiting for that big moment, they end up having good matches, which is why we got to give her love anyway. But like, look at Lyra Valkyria. She can't miss in a match now. she is low-key putting on classics left and right.
They spent the last 6 months like getting her over on the main roster, and Lord knows it took a long time for me to get on board with it, but they've done it. They've done it. I'm all in now. It took a lot of work, but they did it.
Yeah. So there's just a lot of little like sprinkles around this match that tells me like either something crazy is going to happen, or it's just going to be probably the match of the night. And I just wouldn't be surprised at all to be like, yep, Becky did it again. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Okay. Becky and Nikki is your pick. Crab, you feeling anything here? Or is this kind of, I don't know, this kind of, in some ways, like I said earlier, this might be a bit of a lame duck show. So what do you think?
So the short answer is, yeah, it is kind of a lame duck show. But the thing that you said that kept gnawing at me, you said that it was at Paris La Défense Arena in Nanterre. And I think that's a rugby stadium. I don't think that's like a regular indoor basketball arena. I'm pretty sure that can hold 40,000.
Yes, it can. That's what, multi-purpose indoor arena in Nanterre, western suburb of Paris, opened in 2017, developed by the Rugby Union Club, raised in 92. Yeah.
Right.
This is a big venue. Yeah.
So right, it's a huge venue. Much bigger than your 19,000 for a large indoor arena in the US. And we saw what the crowd was and how transformative that crowd was in Lyon, which is where I believe they're going to be for SmackDown tomorrow. You add another 10,000 to that, so I wonder what the crowd will play into it, because this could be John Cena's last time in France as a WWE guy. This could be, and they do have Sheamus versus Rusev in your European match of the night. And then, Becky versus Nikki Bella, of course, Becky with the hometown European crowd behind her there. So overall, the show itself is a B-level PLE, not a pay-per-view, but a B-level PLE.
It's your final show on Peacock.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say not above. It's above Great Balls of Fire, but it's not, but it's definitely below one of the big five pay-per-views.
The Euro shows, I think, have a little extra. The Euro shows have a little extra spice on them. I pulled up WrestleTix real quick to see how they configured the place. They are currently set up for 30,000 people, and there's only 843 tickets left. So they're going to have 30K in there.
So Jamal, on paper though, this is far from a B level. I mean, you have
again, it's in Europe, and it's not in St. It's in Europe and not St. Louis. So we saw what the B level show in Lyon was last year, but the crowd made it something different. I mean, whatever that show was, and it was a PLE. I don't really remember a match, but we remember the crowd taking it over.
Yeah, moments for sure.
That was definitely a moment that WWE hoped for and got, but it is what it is. And this seems to be the same thing. At first it was like, okay, well, on paper, it should be a pretty standard show. They're in France, so the show is to start at 2 or 3 o'clock. Okay, cool. But then, they're in a rugby stadium. They actually have a chance to dress it up a little bit. They're actually going to have a chance to pack the joint with a little bit more fans than they normally would in a typical basketball hockey arena. And what will that look like? Because we saw what it looked like in Lyon, so yes, the show itself on paper, B+ show. But I think the crowd has an opportunity to take it the next step forward, and it may not just be all the French there. Maybe the English are coming. Maybe the Spanish are coming. I don't know. But
you're forgetting one.
I'm forgetting one?
You said maybe who coming?
The English, the Spanish.
Oh, you said I feel like it was just right there to say the British are coming, right?
That's a different thing. They don't do that over there. But
it's in a U.S. show.
Yeah, this isn't in Boston. But the idea is that I think that it makes it a little bit more interesting to see how the crowd aligns itself with the rest of the show. And that's a fine line between a crowd that takes the show over and it's kind of cringy, and a crowd that just enjoys the product that they're getting. And I think that they're getting a decent show, not something that I would have paid $30 for if it were a traditional pay-per-view. But yeah, this is a pretty damn good episode of Raw.
I think that's the beauty of the global takeover is the Americans. We are so spoiled for always having the shows here in all scales, whether they are major glorified house show pay-per-views or they are the big time, big five. And, they're putting in all the bells and whistles. These audiences have been have been starved for years, and it's been a lot better. But like the fact that they don't get much, it's a no-brainer, because as much as we're talking about John Cena last time in Paris, these folks are thinking like, man, this is the last time I'm gonna see John Cena ever. Right. So we
outside of Peacemaker.
Yeah, that's right. So you got to imagine like that energy, knowing that it's a pay-per-view. It's a pay-per-view, period, with top name. I mean, you're definitely not getting C or even B-list talent here. This is all the big people. I mean, LA Knight's hot, Jey Uso's hot. I mean, the only person that's not here that's new hot is Jacob Fatu, but damn sure everybody else is here. So they're gonna go in, they're gonna be rowdy, they're gonna be hot, they're gonna celebrate and party like this is the last time ever. And that's going to be a great experience for them. Hopefully it translates over to the viewership when we watch. And Jamal, I'm surprised you say this, but I'm always a fan of a 5 pay-per-view show with this talent on paper that maybe the stakes aren't as big as it seems. But like, hey, that's the success of TakeOver from back in the days. You had 4 or 5 matches. You probably saw one that looked hella attractive. But ultimately, you was like, damn. Damn, did they nail that?
What we're not going to do is besmirch the legacy of NXT TakeOver 2012 to 2015, hallowed be thy name, by comparing it to a B-level, a B+ show pay-per-view in a watered-down format in Paris. We ain't doing that because we know damn well when we had the Revival versus Gable and Jordan, we knew where we were going to be on a Saturday night.
Yeah,
we knew why we were going to Brooklyn to see Banks versus Bailey. We knew why we were there, and none of those matches compare to the 3-way tag matches, or Paige versus Natty or anything like that. And for the TakeOver period, there's a reason why I went to Bridgeport, fucking Connecticut, of all places, because we knew where we were going to be to sing along with Bobby Roode's theme song. None of these matches are on that level. Let's not pretend. Let's not do that.
All right, I'm out. You're right.
Okay.
All right. I'll say this. Now that we looked into this show a little deeper and saw okay, it's gonna be about 30,000 people there. It's a rugby stadium. I hadn't connected all those dots yet. Now that I connected all those dots, I'm much more interested now in this John Cena Logan Paul match, because I'm glad they got John Cena back to being classic John Cena at SummerSlam. So these French fans will get to have the John Cena send-off they should have with classic John Cena fighting the good fight against Logan Paul. The crowd might be the big story of that match. If any match is going to have the crowd playing a big factor on this show, it's probably going to be John Cena and Logan Paul. So now I'm suddenly more interested in that match than I was when we first read this off now. Cena and Logan Paul might surprise some people. Logan Paul tends to, for everything he does tend to, in these big matches, they tend to map them out right for him to where he's got, damn well, he's got some stunt with a drone playing. You know, he already does. So there's gonna be some memeable moment coming out of that match. That's probably why they're talking about it being the main event. But a Sunday afternoon show, that's always gonna be a plus. You add in the European factor.
There's no work on Monday.
There's a lot of pluses in favor for this show on Sunday afternoon. So Clash in Paris, I think it will be a fine Sunday afternoon, and then we'll be talking about, all right, we got WrestlePalooza in a month and ESPN. What the hell's going on? That the serious business is going to start on Monday
and football. So Sundays aren't so open anymore because Sunday Night Football. I don't even know who has the rights to it at this point. I tell you what, people will be watching it one way or another.
Oh yeah, they'll be back to those Saturday pay-per-views. That's for sure.
Until
matter of fact, and ESPN knows that very much. So you know they're not going to try to counter program against themselves.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on Clash in Paris? I hit anything I wanted.
Well, so there's that, and then of course Raw the next night is going to be in the same venue. So it'll be interesting to see how they pack that place. For Raw 2 nights in a row. So not only do they get the show in Southern France on tomorrow, they get the pay-per-view and they get Raw. So I wonder, just from a storyline perspective of giving them that send-off instead of just booking it to, Montana afterwards.
Yeah, I would think that Raw has to be a very big show because, like we were saying, that is going to be the beginning of the build for ESPN. So I think, I don't know if I'd say like a WrestleMania, Raw after WrestleMania level, but I think it's going to be a big damn show. So they're going to want to be getting attention on Monday. So, all right, let's switch gears. Let's talk about one of the craziest damn stories that has happened in a long damn time. And I'm not even sure where to really start with this, but Raja Jackson is the son of Quentin Rampage Jackson. If you remember that name from UFC and Pride and all that stuff. And what was it? It was last week. Was it Sunday night that this happened? I want to say it was over the weekend. It was over the weekend. And then, I want to say it was Monday. I woke up and it was just all over social media with these clips. And it was like, oh, Lord. So how to break this down? He's at an indie show for one of the WWE ID companies, one that Rikishi has, the Nox X Pro.
Wait a minute. Before you, just to be clear on that. I've also heard that this is no longer an ID.
Oh yeah, no longer. I got yanked. But at the time, it was WWE ID affiliate. That has changed this week.
Yeah.
But yes, at the time, so he's there and he's doing a live stream on Kick, and he's hanging out in the back, and he gets into it with one of the wrestlers, a guy by the name of Psycho. What's his name? Psycho Stu, I want to say. I want to make sure I get this guy.
Psycho Stu, I believe.
Psycho Stu, yes.
I'm adding commentary to this too. Now, granted, whether you know this name or not, whether you want to say he's a nobody or whatever it may be, I want to say, folks, including even us, you love your local talent, regardless of their popularity. So we're not going to diminish popularities or anything with this as well too, because I kind of seen that sort of narrative floating around, like, who is this guy? Right. Spotlight. There's a bunch of this bullshit, to be honest. Yeah. But like at the end of the day, indie talent, they go out there, they do the thing, they put their bodies on the line. There should be safety and security for them. And again, regardless how you want to evaluate somebody's popularity, people love their local talent. We love our local talent. So we're just gonna make sure we don't let that bullshit get attached to this.
Shout out to Logan Easton LaRoe, wherever you are right now.
There you go. All right, so to quickly put this all together, they have a little altercation in the back. There seems to be miscommunication about who Raja Jackson is and whether he's part of the show, he's not, and all this. There's a clip where like Psycho Stu hits him with a beer can. It's clearly worked. Like they were trying to do an angle where everyone's like, no, he's not a worker. He's not part of this. And the show goes on. They have the show. They have a segment where Raja Jackson gets in the ring. This is the big clip that's going around. He picks up Psycho Stu and double legs him, spikes him to the mat, and like Psycho Stu's head hits the mat, and like he seems to be out right there just from the slam.
Maybe working there, but definitely sold the moment.
Definitely rocked at least because he's not defending himself with what happens next.
Right.
Where Roger Jackson mounts him and then just starts unloading punches on him to the kind of like 21 or 22 unanswered punches, like, you know, a full-on assault. There's no other way to put it. It's a full-on assault before he's pulled off him, and it's one of the craziest damn things I've seen in a long damn time in a wrestling thing. I mean, the closest thing I can think of is back in the days of ECW, if anyone remembers the infamous mass transit incident with New Jack and a young kid who was didn't know what was going on, but that involved a weapon. This is a 25-year-old man just unloading.
Shout out the dark side of the ring, by the way.
Yeah. The clips are all over the place online. He had to get rushed to the hospital, and apparently he is Psycho is awake now. He's still in the hospital. Myriad of things going on there. There's a GoFundMe that's raised a bunch of money. Names like Mr. Beast is apparently even thrown in on it on the GoFundMe. It's gotten so much publicity, this damn story. As of this point, there have not been any charges, but the video is so nuts, and the 2 hours of streaming is nuts, with Raja Jackson on this stream talking to people about how I'm going to get him. It's going to be real. And it's like, it's really weird because there's like all this video footage of this entire thing. Yeah. And I don't know, man. Like, 2 Chainz, get in here.
It's
crazy that all this is like on video, the entire thing.
Yeah, a couple of things to add to that. I'm gonna share it well because I know everybody has reactions to this. Mm-hmm. First thing I saw was that apparently he had like access to backstage, the talent. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't just coming as a fan, but apparently who was doing all the filming also had some type of like clearance to go, access to talent, be backstage, and so on. So that's why there's this measure of production behind it, because it's almost like shooting a vlog to like, he's Rampage Jackson's son. He's here and he's at a wrestling show. And of course, there's a measure of him probably trying to get himself over, get himself involved, draw more attention to him. Maybe the promotion. And I've heard some stuff like the promotion was saying they wanted to do something and work something with him, but he's not a wrestler, but he's there and he has a name and it's a way of like incorporating him. I mean, it's a front row seat, as camera folks, there's obviously something to be made with just that alone. Plus, he has the name. I really do hate the idea, and I've been saying this since we were going to the indie shows pretty damn hard. I hate anybody who goes to a show that makes the show about them outside of what's happening inside the ring, because we're here to see the wrestlers. We're not here to see the fans and so on. So that's just annoying in the first place. The whole lack of a promo that he tried to make it cut and all this other stuff wasn't a promo, so he's gonna throw that out there too. His little, I saw somebody even call it roid rage, but whatever you want to call it, his little rant afterwards, just tasteless, classless. He legitimately hurt somebody. In fact, last thing I'll say, and I'll pass along. If you're Rampage Jackson's son, you didn't seen your father, whether you've seen it live, because I don't know how old he is, or you've seen footage of it.
But then let's throw that in here, since we keep saying his son. Let's make this clear. He's 25. This is not like a teenager or like an 18 or 19-year-old even. He's 25.
Yeah.
This is a full-grown man.
You know what your dad's about. And you know what the sport's about because it's in your blood and you probably wanted to pursue it. I'm not even sure if he is pursuing it. I know they say he's a fighter, but I didn't look that deep into it. But you know how this works. I've watched plenty of UFCs. Even the UFCs when weight classes didn't matter. Under no circumstance was anybody taking more than 3 punches before.
You don't accidentally throw 22-something unanswered punches when arms just back like that. No, that's not an accident.
Exactly. In a good old true crime, they would say this was a passion crime because 1 or 2 shots can get something done. Dumping a whole clip in somebody is definitely like, okay, this is really so this the wrap. Whatever legal actions comes his way, he earned that. Think about it. In the whatever time he's either going to be reprimanded for it, whatever it's going to be. But this is just uncalled for. This is not what pro wrestling is. This is not what independent wrestling is. This is not what any of the talent show signed up for. I know the word receipt got thrown out there. Receipts are things that happen within the confines of the program. It's not you to personally go in there and handle it yourself. Receipts are handled in the show, part of the show, part of the production, part of the booking. So his own ambition to do so as such, uncalled for. It's just bad all around. It's just bad all around. So that's all I gotta say about that. But it was really, really tough to watch. And then the video afterwards, it was just really, really bad judgment for this young man. Unfortunately, because of the crime that's at hand right now, the consequences has to follow, because you know better. You absolutely know better. A 20-piece nugget on somebody is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Crab, get in here.
So the thing that I'm kind of confused about is, at what point is Jackson complicit, and at what point is the wrestling company complicit in allowing this to happen? Because yes, if the word receipt is thrown out, and in the context of the word, like, hey, this guy did something to you, and there's a wrestling etiquette backstage that you know the Uber fans or talent within the actual industry would know. Hey, you know what? Yeah, that guy did, you know, kind of rib you a little bit, and you know, hey, you can get him back. You can get your lick back.
Yeah,
and you know it, and of course, there's also, if you know, everybody's always working in wrestling, and work is in quotation marks. So, how do you know the difference between a work and a shoot if you're not in the industry? And it doesn't seem like Jackson is. So when he gets, you know, cracked over the head with a fake beer can or whatever, and is immediately incensed by it, oh no, it's a work, it's okay. It's like those people that say, like, oh, you just pushed that old lady into a can of beans. No, dude, it's a prank. Don't shoot us. and you get shot in a Virginia mall. I you know, at what point is it, not to say that Psycho Stu deserves any of that, whatever he, you know, his ass whooping in the ring, but if there is fault to be had, yes, I do think it's equally shared against you know, Roger Jackson, because your receipt entitles you to get your lick back, not to do that and then some. That's assault.
Yeah.
But where's the ref? Where are the EMTs? Where's the, you know, the state wrestling board to stop the show? If that shit happens in Maryland, the show is shut down.
Oh shoot, that company's dead.
DC,
that company's
in these areas.
It's dead the next day.
Forget it.
Yeah. Don't do that shit in Virginia. It's not good. Your show is dead.
I tell you what, but beyond the show's dead, the Commonwealth cops will be right at the door too. Exactly. They're not even going to even sit there and try to articulate what's shown, what's not.
We would not be sitting here days later with it still like that. There's no charge.
Yeah, we're not wondering about who's going to get charged with what.
Yeah, you know, we'll bring you down to the station and figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Like the next time, you know, and then of course it's another bad, you know, thing for Kick, which had recent controversy about a person that was tortured for views on Kick itself. So they've been having a shitty week. And then of course they've been you know, hit hard by underage gambling streams and shit like that too. So Kick has, well, it's been kicked in the ass for the past couple of weeks and months. But about Jackson, okay, fine. He's not a wrestler. He somehow gets invited backstage with him and his camera crew. It's a vlog. It's whatever it is. You know, maybe he had a rib pulled on him. Maybe he didn't. Decided to take it out in the ring. Why would he know to do that? He's not a wrestler, right? He doesn't know jack about the industry or how to even give a receipt. So obviously, who's telling him this information about how these things would happen in a ring? You know, why would he be allowed to have a portion of the show? Like, hey, you know what? Actually, if you're going to take this too seriously, because this is what we do all the time, you know, you're the problem. Sit your ass down somewhere. Were there any checks and balances between management, other talent, whatever? And it doesn't seem to be any.
Yeah, I think the key word is communication. Clearly was not going on here between everyone that was involved, or people were just assuming, oh, he knows what's up, or whatever. I mean, something went very off the rails here, and we ended up with this just horrific damn
and
scene.
And that's also a thing too, where it is, people are throwing around the phrase attempted murder. Well, is that something that is? And I don't live in California. I don't know. But is that an accurate
registered? Is he a legal fighter? I mean, those are things I don't know, but that does sort of fit the suit. Let me just throw something there because I want to hear both of y'all opinions on this. And I haven't really researched it, but again, I the Wikipedia Twitter, shall I call it at this point now, because anybody can say anything. But apparently, and I did watch the video of him afterwards, but apparently a lot of his statement felt like really bottled up emotions for a long time, not just this event. And I saw something that had something to say that like there had been some kind of crazy communication between his father and him. His father was
clearly, I can add to that. Clearly, there's been stuff up there that his dad, Quentin Rampage Jackson, knows back. Quentin had made comments about how, yeah, I put money away for my kid's college and stuff. For Raja, I put aside bail money. Like he's made that joke before, so clearly there's something there that was he's openly talked about that before.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, because you start to talk about parenting here. But I'm just wondering, had there been anything possibly, and whether it's concrete or jokingly, sort of this measure of expectation that the father put on him to perform in the way he does, to respond in the way
this is your chance to make your name or something.
You know what I mean? Or like, hey, don't be a sucker because I'm not a sucker. And we know Rampage. And I even have a personal run-in with Rampage.
That's a classic thing. I didn't even think of this. But the idea that if you go down to this wrestling show, you need to watch out because they'll try to make a name off you.
Yeah,
you're the son of Rampage
like that.
Yeah, I mean that is a very common thing to hear.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering if those sort of like thoughts was implanted into this young man's head who clearly lacked the judgment.
Yeah,
but this expectation resulted in,
Okay, well, let me.
You can't beat someone to the point that there's blood coming out their ears.
Well, I mean, but to be fair, you can, because we know what happens when Ric Flair gets into the ring and somebody throws a working punch, and all of a sudden, he's covered in blood. We know what happens when Cody sneezes in the ring, and now he's crying blood from his scalp,
or Mox.
Or Moxley.
The moment he even look at the ring,
right? We know exactly why. It looks like somebody took a cheese grater to Devon Dudley's forehead. We know why that is. So that's what the prosecutors are going to have to figure out. They're going to have to figure out where the line between intent to harm and the show begins and ends. That's number
where it gets
one.
Tricky.
And the second thing is that. Okay, so they're going to have to establish a motive.
At what point was this self-defense, and what moment was it assault? That's the thing. Like a receipt is a measure of like defense.
where Stu could not defend himself, it was assault. He got the slam in, and he could not defend himself. Any referee in any combat sport,
right there, should have been stopped.
It would have stopped it immediately.
Exactly, and that's my point. I said any fight that he's either watched of his father or he just decided to watch UFC replays or just whatever's on the show of the week. You see it. 2 to 3 punches, the ref is in there.
But here's the thing. So you had an angle backstage that got carried into the show. Now nobody saw the backstage angle. This wasn't like a thing. Nobody's watching the kick stream in the audience. So there was a backstage angle that was a work that got turned into a shoot, brother, and then it happened, and the receipt happened in the ring, which obviously the ref and every professional within the company that's at ringside allowed to happen to the point where they go, "Oh shit, he's losing his mind. Somebody get in there and stop this," and they do. Eventually, well after the fact, because it's too late. The question is this a part of the show? And didn't Jackson take it too far?
Yes.
Was this a part of the show? And Jackson didn't know what to do. Now, the difference between this and Travis Scott with Cody and busting his eardrum is that, that happened once. It was a stupid thing to do. And obviously, Scott won't be invited back to anything anytime soon. But it's not necessarily the intent wasn't malicious. the intent was obviously malicious with Roger Jackson because of what happened after the fact. But if he's being coerced in and led down this path, how much of the responsibility is on him to do it? If somebody sees him, double legs the guy, slams the shit out of Alabama, slams him in a very poor attempt, and then goes, "Oh shit, he's out." You know, the ref, the timekeeper, nobody sees that and goes, "Oh shit, this isn't a part of it. This is something else." I think obviously I think that it's more on the company that is complicit in allowing this bullshit to happen, which is a part of the indie experience. Unfortunately, what was it, ICW out there in IWA Mid-South?
I tell you why I don't agree, because we can go back to our local stuff, and I know we're on our time, but we can go back to our local stuff. It didn't matter how involved, and not to name drop anybody, but it didn't matter how involved certain stables or communities were. They knew better not to get into the ring, because you don't get into the ring because you don't have a license. I don't know what's happening in that state.
Hold on. Counterpoint. Faye Jackson.
License.
But,
yes, and then got banned, and that individual got banned twice.
Right. So I'm not saying
that's what I'm saying. You may not know.
Happen, though.
No, it can certainly happen, but you at some point you don't do it, because this is where I'm thinking the legal stuff gets involved. You shouldn't be in the ring, number one. So that's the first strike. You're not licensed to be in that ring. That's your first fault. Number two, self-defense, 1 to 2 punch. This person's out. You know it. You're 26 in, and then you posted a video bragging about it afterwards. I don't know how you at all look at this and not say this is 1,000% your fault. Now, granted, the promotion, their job is to create a barricade. Their job is to ensure staffing is around, safety on hand if need be, the things they can't control. But somebody jumping into the ring doing something, there's but so much they can do. And I did see some wrestlers saying they were disappointed that other wrestlers didn't get in there and quickly shut it down. And really want to talk about what receipts meant and how it's done. At the end of the day, no fan should be in that ring, because that's what that person is. I don't care if you have the VIP package to be backstage, you shouldn't be in there.
But he wasn't just a fan. He was a guy that was brought backstage with his camera crew and allowed to do a thing on behalf of the company, on behalf of himself, on behalf of Kick and whoever the hell else they're sponsored with. So this wasn't
still not talent. Still not talent.
But even still, though, he's even whether he's a VIP or not isn't the issue. It was the fact that the company is complicit, and he wasn't just some random four-eyed geek that saw his boo thing get beat up in the ring, part of the show, and then slides under the rope and goes, "Holy shit, get off of her. Oh my God, get this guy out of the ring."
But
that's not what happened.
Last time I say, he wasn't invited into the ring. No one said, "Come in the ring and do your thing." It wasn't even a promo that went out there and says, "Hey, Roger, I heard you got a big deal with me. Come in here and come get some." It was none of that. This dude called this blindsided, which is probably why the Alabama Slam possibly knocked him unconscious, because he didn't see it coming. This is a pro wrestler. He knows how to take a bump, especially a bump of that magnitude. I'm sure they're doing that on day one.
Right.
So the fact that potentially knocked him out and then he took 20 more, no, absolutely.
Okay, but that's the thing, though. The fact that he was able to hop the fence and nobody gang tackled and tased his ass, I think that there was talks behind the scenes to allow him to hop the fence.
Let's do something with this thing.
Which is
some publicity.
For one, do not do. That is a no-go zone. Period. Like that's the line between.
You got to have everyone on the same damn page, and clearly everyone was not on the same damn page.
I tell you what. The way how we definitively know if this was planned or not. Where's the commentary? Did the commentary at all call the moment? If they did, then they knew what was happening. If commentary
was the event televised itself, or was it just streamed on Kick?
Oh, I mean,
I think only footage I've seen is this Kick stream.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought it was an indie show at wherever it was in California.
Yeah.
If they were doing their own production to tape it, who knows? But
every show has commentary, regardless whether they're piping the mic in hot to the audience or it is a part of their live stream or recording.
Yeah, but nobody has video of the thing, though. I mean, like they only have the video that surfaced from the Kick stream. So I'm just saying, like, if you have an idea, an opportunity to control the narrative with seasoning, then you might want to do that by saying, hey, we as the company are not complicit in this. We didn't know that he was going to do this. We thought the shit was settled backstage, and then he jumped it. We got caught with our pants down at the very least. Leave us alone. We clearly see that's not the case. We know of other instances where the similar thing has happened. And the last thing I'll say on it is, I 100% think the company is at fault. I also think that that if the company isn't legally liable for the health of Psycho Stu and any other wrestler that gets assaulted in the ring by a fan, there's a civil suit that's on the way.
Yeah,
because obviously
there's negligence here in one way or another. It's just a matter of who it falls on, and it probably falls on multiple people at this point. Yeah. This is going to be a very messy case because there's so much gray area there with what was part of the show, when did the show stop being the show, who was told what. Yeah, there's gonna be an interesting story just as far as like how it plays out. But my only last thing I'm gonna say about it is just, I am shocked that we are sitting here now on Thursday night. It's been multiple days since this happened, and we haven't heard anything legal related to it yet. So I don't know.
Folks, just take a look online. Everybody's speaking out from all corners of the community, whether it's pro wrestling officials, legends, that's active wrestlers, UFC fighters are getting involved with it as well. Commentary personalities, everybody has something to say. And then the video's there within a couple of searches. And for the wrestlers that did jump in there to restrain him and calm him down, because this was definitely some measure of rage at some point. Shout out to them. And listen, better late than never, because I mean, it did not look like he was about to pull up anytime soon. And that's
he wasn't gonna stop. He wasn't gonna stop. Yeah. I got the video playing right here, and he was not quitting. So, and he's trying to get back on him as he's getting pulled off. It took a lot of damn guys to get him finally into the corner to put an end to it. All right. We've gone extra long tonight. So let's go into the home stretch here. But we got a lot of people watching tonight, so I'm excited to. Let's keep us going, because clearly people are into this discussion. We got a lot of folks on the
like we need an 8:30 start time going forward, man. Y'all love to come in halfway through the show. But listen, if y'all joining us each and every week, y'all be sure to get in the comments with us, be a part of the conversation. We'll read this.
Folks been quiet tonight. It's been a quiet night in the street, but people are watching. So hey, glad to have you all here.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Let me run it all down here and we'll get into the entertainment talk as we wrap it up. So each and every Thursday night, 8 p.m., your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast is streaming live here on YouTube, on X, on Twitch. All those streams. We are not on Kick, like Rasha Jackson's shit. You're not on there. But you can find us on YouTube, and you can find us on X, and you can find us on Twitch. After the fact, the stream lives on YouTube. So if you came in late tonight, like some of y'all, the whole show is here on YouTube tonight in audio and video form. We got you covered in both ways, so you can find that on YouTube. On social media, you can find us at Big Gold Belt, whether you're talking on X, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, you name it. At Big Gold Belt is where you can find us on social media. And last but not least, the website, BigGoldBelt.com, the home of Big Gold Belt Media, wrestling, movies, comics, and more. Since we have the boss man here tonight, I will throw it to him. What we got? This is almost the end of summer, Labor Day weekend. So is it all just now about just like the best of summer hits, or is there something that we should be checking out?
I'll be short and sweet. The only thing I seen this week was Caught Stealing, which is the Austin Butler, Zoe Kravitz, a bunch of other names, Vincent D'Onofrio. I mean, it's star-studded. It's a great film. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a great film. A lot of action, brutal. Whatever you think you're going in there getting, whether you look at Austin and Zoe, think it's about to be something sexy. Oh, it gets down and dirty. It gets crazy. So I would suggest that. And to your point, Will, I think we got a couple more weeks before we get to. I know summer's getting ready to end, but I think we got like maybe a couple more weeks to really reflect about the summer in its entirety in terms of the blockbusters, the good ones, the bad ones, and so on. So we'll stick around for that. Then the war season's here, and then that's where it gets crazy. So,
Crab, what do you got?
I'm gonna add a couple to that. Caught Stealing looks interesting. If you want to see Clash in Paris, you can do that at your local movie theater. Start time is at 2:00 Eastern. for a lot of theaters. Jaws is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. So that's an IMAX this weekend. The Roses with Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch, based on War of the Roses, is out this weekend. Prince, Sound of the Times, remastered concert in IMAX this weekend. It looks pretty good. The Toxic Avenger has another movie coming out this weekend. There's a Jackie Chan movie that's goddamn good called Shadow's Edge. Jackie Chan and Tony Leung. It's very good. I would definitely go out of my way to see that. Shin Godzilla came out in 4K a couple weeks ago. They're re-releasing it in black and white this time, similar to Godzilla -1. So if you like Shin Godzilla from 2017, the 4K re-release is in effect this weekend in black and white, which is a totally different experience. And of course, interview
with the director is also available as well too.
Yeah, and of course, the biggest movie of the year, by far, biggest animated movie of all time, full stop, not even close. Neja Part 2 is out in English. So if you haven't seen it in the Chinese in February, it's my favorite movie of the year. Definitely worth seeing in English.
All right. Tons of stuff to watch, whether we're talking wrestling or movies or Godzilla. You got options this Labor Day weekend if you're here in the States, as we are. But folks, 8 p.m. Eastern is where you can find us each and every week. So glad to see so many of you here tonight. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, all that good stuff. Set your notifications so you know when we'll go live next week. And until then, I guess that's it. So your friends here at Big Gold Belt Media will be back next Thursday, and we will talk to you later.